They told you the universe responds to hard work. They told you success belongs to the disciplined, the relentless, the ones who grind their bones into dust. And yet, you've seen it, haven't you? You've watched people who work half as much as you live twice as richly. You've seen those who stumble into love, opportunity, fortune, while others chase it endlessly and find only shadows. The myth is this, that action alone creates reality. The truth is stranger, older, more magical. It is not your hands that shape your destiny. It is your assumption. Neville Goddard, the mystic of imagination, whispered a secret most ignore. Assumptions, if persisted in, harden into fact. What does that mean? It means you are already the author of your life, but not through effort, not through willpower, but through the quiet theater of the mind. The play you rehearse in imagination, again and again with feeling, becomes the stage you walk upon. You see, you assume things all day long. You assume the world is against you. You assume money is scarce. You assume love never lasts. And then, like a faithful servant, reality bends itself to mirror those hidden beliefs. This is not superstition. This is not wishful thinking. This is the law of consciousness. When you assume deeply, emotionally, with conviction, the psyche accepts it as real, and the outer world, which is nothing more than a projection of the inner, rearranges itself to fit. Carl Jung called it the unconscious. Neville called it the depths of self. Both pointed to the same truth. You are living inside a mirror. But here's the paradox. Most people polish the glass, never realizing the reflection follows the one who gazes. They scrub the outer world, changing jobs, changing partners, changing cities, yet the same problems return, like ghosts. Why? Because the assumption inside them remains untouched. Imagine a man. He walks the streets of his city, pockets empty, shoulders heavy with despair. He tells himself, I am broke. I am unlucky. I am unwanted. These are not words. These are assumptions, burned into his nervous system. Every glance he casts is filtered through that lens. And so, the city responds in kind. Closed doors, missed opportunities, cold stares. Now imagine the same man, but in the stillness of night, he lies upon his bed and dares to enter a different state. He closes his eyes and imagines money flowing freely to him. He feels not as the beggar, but as the prosperous one. He lets himself fall asleep, assuming the wish fulfilled. And day by day, without knowing how, reality begins to bend. Strangers extend hands. Jobs appear. Ideas spark. It is not magic. It is law. You must understand, the assumption is the seed. Action is only the branch. The fruit is your reality. But we were taught backwards. We were taught to wrestle the soil instead of planting the seed. We were taught to chase the fruit rather than becoming the tree. In archetypal language, assumption is the grail. It is the cup you hold before the invisible. What you fill it with, faith or fear, becomes the wine you drink in waking life. Neville knew this. Jung knew this. And deep down, you know this too. Because recall, when you feared something with all your being, how often did it come to pass? The failed exam, the breakup you dreaded, the rejection you rehearsed in your mind 1,000 times before it happened. That was assumption at work, only in shadow. So if your dark assumptions have the power to summon nightmares into fact, why doubt that luminous assumptions could summon miracles? There is a threshold here, a door. Most will never cross it. Because to assume the wish fulfilled feels like death to the ego. It means letting go of control, of effort, of the belief that I must do everything myself. But you, yes, you listening, have felt it, haven't you? That quiet moment when you dared to imagine the end, and for a second, reality shimmered. That flash of déjà vu, as if you had already lived what you only just assumed. That is the universe bending. Listen closely. Your life is not chained to what is reasonable. It is chained only to what you assume. The poor man assumes lack and sees lack. The lonely woman assumes rejection and meets it. The seeker assumes awakening and finds teachers, dreams, signs guiding him onward. It is always assumption first, always. Jung would say, assumption is archetypal clay. In your depths lives the hero, the mother, the shadow, the oracle. When you assume, you sculpt which archetype steps forward. Assume failure, and the saboteur rises. Assume love, and the beloved appears. Assume greatness, and the hero claims the stage. The gods themselves obey the sculptor's hand. Do you see now? The myth of effort crumbles. The deeper law stands revealed. You are not a beggar of fate. You are the dreamer of the dream. And what you dare to assume, consistently, faithfully, becomes flesh. Neville once said, change your conception of yourself, and you will automatically change the world in which you live. This is Act 1, the awakening. To break the spell of the old myth, to open your eyes to the mirror, to realize the universe does not respond to what you do. It responds to who you assume yourself to be. Now the journey begins, for in the next act, we will descend deeper into the mechanics, the ritual, the alchemy of assumption itself. Here, you will see how the invisible becomes visible. Here, you will learn how to hold the grail. Here, the secret unfolds. Feeling is the secret. So, now that you have glimpsed the truth, you ask, how does it work? How can something so subtle, so invisible, shape the entire universe of your experience? The answer is both simple and terrifying. The inner state is the only cause. Neville Goddard spoke of it again and again. Feeling is the secret, not the fleeting wish, not the half-hearted daydream, but the felt conviction that what you desire is already yours. Think of the psyche as a soil. Your assumption is the seed, and feeling, the rich, emotional charge of it, is the water and sunlight that allows it to grow. Without feeling, an assumption is a brittle shell, but when saturated with emotion, it becomes alive. The unconscious accepts it as fact, and once accepted within, the outer world, obedient, precise, inevitable, reshapes itself to match. Why do so many fail? Because they imagine without feeling. They recite words but remain cold. They picture outcomes but never taste them inwardly. The universe does not hear your words. It feels your state. When you assume the wish fulfilled, you step into the archetypal theater. You live the scene in imagination, not as observer, but as actor. You become the one who already has. And once you have walked there inwardly, reality follows like a shadow. But there is a shadow here too. Yes, the shadow, Jung's great archetype. Most of us live in unconscious assumptions. I'm not good enough. Life is unfair. Nothing works out for me. These are assumptions too, but forged in darkness, inherited from parents, culture, trauma. They lurk in the depths, unchallenged. And so the outer world reflects them back mercilessly. You think you are cursed by fate, but in truth, you are possessed by assumption. To reclaim your power, you must face the shadow. You must see where your old assumptions hide. Ask yourself, what do I always expect to go wrong? What do I secretly believe about myself? What stories of failure play on repeat in my inner theater? These are not harmless thoughts. They are spells, and they have already conjured the world you walk in. Now, the alchemy. How do you reverse it? How do you turn lead into gold? Neville gives you the steps, simple yet profound. 1. Assume the wish fulfilled. Close your eyes. Relax. Enter that drowsy state between waking and sleep. The threshold. Now imagine a scene that would imply your desire is already realized. Not the process, not the middle, but the end. If you want wealth, imagine holding the check. If you want love, imagine the ring on your finger. If you want healing, imagine the doctor saying, "You're free." 2. Feel it real. Don't watch yourself from a distance. Be inside the body, looking through the eyes of the fulfilled one. Feel the texture of the paper. Hear the voice of your beloved. Smell the air of the new home. Emotion is the ink that writes upon the unconscious. 3. Persist until it hardens. It will feel false at first. Your mind will resist. The shadow will whisper, "This is foolish." But persist. Repeat. Night after night. Morning after morning. Until the assumption takes root and the old self withers. There is a dream image here. A seeker stands in a vast forest. The path before him splits in two. One road is well trodden, lined with weary travelers carrying stones of effort and burden. The other is narrow, hidden by mist. Few dare step upon it. But as the seeker steps onto the misted path, he feels something strange. Though the road is invisible, it rises to meet his feet. He assumes each step will hold him, and so the path appears. This is assumption. The unseen becomes seen. The invisible answers the inner conviction. The collective unconscious holds this image in many myths. In the gospel story, according to your faith, be it unto you. In the tales of alchemists, where inner transmutation births outer gold. In the archetype of the magician, who does not beg the gods but declares, "As within, so without." The mechanics are always the same. State arrow, assumption arrow, feeling arrow, manifestation. Now let me tell you a story from Neville himself. A woman longed for reconciliation with her estranged husband. For months she begged, pleaded, acted desperately, and nothing worked. Then she turned inward. Each night she imagined the simple scene of her hand wearing a wedding band, her husband's voice calling her, "My wife." She did not chase him in waking life. She assumed in silence. And weeks later, he appeared at her door, changed, repentant, ready to reunite. What action accomplished nothing? Assumption accomplished with ease. And yet, Neville warned, it is not enough to assume once. The ego clings to old states like a snake to dead skin. You must shed it again and again until the new assumption is born. Jung would say, this is individuation. The conscious ego dies, the deeper self takes throne. The alchemy of assumption is not just about money or relationships. It is about becoming whole. But beware the half step. Many dabble in assumption, but secretly feed the shadow. They affirm, "I am wealthy," while assuming lack. They whisper, "I am loved," while assuming rejection. The universe obeys the assumption, not the words. You must become it inwardly. You must dwell there until it feels natural. You must saturate your nervous system with the state. Then, without warning, reality bends. People shift. Events align. The impossible happens. Do you see how radical this is? It means you are not at the mercy of circumstances. It means you are not chained to your past. It means the outer world is plastic, fluid, obedient to the image within. The assumption is the mold. Reality is the clay. And your feeling, the fire that hardens it. Let us pause. Take a breath. What assumption are you carrying right now? Is it an assumption of lack, of despair, of waiting? Or will you dare, this moment, to assume the wish fulfilled? Close your eyes. Imagine the end. Let the scene play. Not tomorrow. Now. The mechanics are clear. Assumption is creation. Feeling is the secret. Persistence is the bridge. This is no longer philosophy, it is initiation. And here lies the great irony. Once you master assumption, you realize you never needed to manifest anything. It was already finished. The act of assumption does not create, it reveals. The reality was waiting, hidden in the depths of consciousness, until you dared to claim it. So I tell you again, you do not need more effort. You do not need more struggle. You need assumption. Because assumption is the only language the universe understands. And in this, we reach the second threshold. Beyond this door lies Act 3, the initiation. Here you will see how assumption becomes ritual, how life itself becomes alchemy, how you step into the temple of the oracle and hear the words, "As you assume, so shall it be." So now, seeker, you stand at the edge. You have seen the myth collapse. You have touched the mechanics of assumption. But knowledge alone is not enough. This is not a philosophy to be studied. It is an initiation to be lived. Neville Goddard told us, "Assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled and live in the end." Simple words. Yet behind them lies the door to everything, the end. That is the sacred threshold. Most of humanity lives in the middle, waiting, hoping, doubting, bargaining. But the magician, the oracle, the awakened soul, they leap to the end. They live as though it is already finished. And in that state, reality has no choice but to catch up. Let me give you a dream image. You walk toward a great temple. Its doors are sealed, carved with ancient symbols. A crowd gathers outside, waiting for permission to enter. They plead, they pray, they grow restless. But you, something in you dares more. You place your hand on the door and assume it will open. Not by effort, not by begging, but by simple conviction. And the stone dissolves. You step inside. The others stare in disbelief, but you know, it was assumption that turned the lock. This is the initiation. To stop waiting, to stop begging, to stop postponing, and instead, to become now what you desire to be. When you assume, you claim identity. You say, "I am." And those two words are the most creative force in existence. I am free. I am loved. I am powerful. The unconscious accepts this as command. And soon, the outer world, obedient and precise, mirrors the inner decree. Do not think this is arrogance. This is alignment. You are not demanding from the universe. You are recognizing that the universe is within you. Jung might say, you are uniting ego with self. Neville would say, you are awakening to Christ within, the imagination that creates worlds. Both point to the same truth. Assumption is not just a trick for better circumstances. It is the path of individuation. It is becoming whole. But you must persist. This is the final test. Assumption will be challenged. Old shadows will rise. Circumstances may scream the opposite. The world will whisper, "See? Nothing has changed." But the initiate smiles, because he knows Circumstances are echoes, not causes. The assumption, held with faith, will outlast the echo. And when the echo fades, the new song appears. Hear me. The outer world is a delayed reflection. Change the inner state and wait. The mirror must follow. It cannot resist. This is law. Immutable, eternal, precise as gravity. So I ask you now, what do you assume? Do you assume you are small, broken, powerless? Then life will agree. Or will you assume you are the vessel of power, the beloved of life, the hero of your own myth? Then watch as reality reshapes itself to your conviction. In mythic language, the Grail is in your hands. Fill it with despair, and you drink despair. Fill it with joy, and you drink joy. Fill it with certainty, and the world itself becomes wine. Assumption is the alchemy. Assumption is the Grail. And so we repeat the core. It is not action, but assumption that precedes creation. It is not effort, but feeling that writes reality. It is not the world that shapes you, but you who shape the world, through the state you dare to occupy. 3 times for the initiate to remember. Assume and it shall be. Assume and it shall be. Assume and it shall be. Now, let us close with ritual tone. Take this moment. Close your eyes. Let the breath slow. And ask yourself, what is the end I long for? Do not picture the struggle. Do not picture the process. Go to the end. Hear the voice congratulating you. Feel the embrace of victory. Taste the sweetness of fulfillment. It is yours. It has always been yours. All that was missing was the assumption. So walk now as the new one. Cross the threshold. Hold the Grail. Speak the words, I am, and let the universe obey. This is your initiation. This is your awakening. This is the law. Assumptions, if persisted in, harden into fact. So assume now. Assume boldly. Assume with joy. And step into the life already waiting for you.